In this video, I'll be working through the question you can see on the screen from the Cambridge A-Level Maths Paper 1. Specifically, it's Paper 1-1 from the winter exams in 2023. If you're looking for a different question from this paper, there should be a link to a playlist with all the questions below this video. I'm doing this on a whiteboard. Hopefully it'll be like you're used to your teacher doing. And if you do find this or any of my other videos useful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you like, subscribe, or even share it with a friend that's doing the exam this year or next. In question 4, we're going to be transforming an equation, y equals x squared. We're going to be reflecting it, and we're also going to be translating it. Now, this question is extremely short, if you know how to do it. So I could just write the answer and that's it, I'd be done. Now that's not going to help you because if you're watching this video, I'm guessing you don't know how to do it. Now that's difficult because to do this question, you need to understand the whole chapter on functions basically and on transformations. But I'll do my best I'm going to draw lots of pictures. I'm going to try and explain the steps you would take and hopefully it will help a little bit. But if you're watching this like an hour before your exam, it's probably no good to you. This needs to be done with study. You do actually need to understand this topic. Okay, with that said, this question, they tell us there's a transformation OR. An OR is a rotation, a reflection through the x-axis. And they tell us T, and T is a translation. And basically this means we're going to move something in x, to right 3, and we're going to move it down 1. So in the x-axis we're going plus 3, that's right 3. And in the y-axis we're going minus 1, that's down 1. And what we're moving is this. So again, you don't have to draw this, but I will to help try and explain things. To draw this, it's just x goes up like that, and again in the minus it goes up like that. That's roughly, sorry, this is a perfect mirror here. That's roughly the drawing of y equals x squared. So let's draw what they tell us, and you would get marks for this. So let's draw what it tells us, a reflection in the x-axis. So let's draw this again. Well, let's just put out the same axis, reflect it down, and a rough drawing looks something like that. Now again, I just said this a moment ago, but you would get marks for doing this sort of thing. There's only 2 marks in this question, so you'd have to do this part and the next, I think, probably to get 1 mark. Okay, so we've rotated it through the x-axis, and it's important the order. So part A, they tell us to rotate, reflect, and then translate. In part B, they're going to translate first, then rotate, and we get a different answer. Okay, so I said rotate again. We reflect through the x-axis. The reason I say rotate, because they are the same. Rotating 90 degrees is the same as reflecting, I think. So translate, now we have to translate. We reflected it, now we have to translate it. And we're going right 3 and up 1. So something like there, let's say. Actually, let's just overemphasize this. Let's say 3 is all the way over here. Right 3 and up 1. Something like that. So that's this middle part did move there, everything else moved there. It's the same shape. The same shape is something like that. Apologize for my drawing. Okay, so I think the examiner will probably give you 1 of the 2 marks for this picture. Okay, but hopefully that just gives you an idea what's happening. Now, they wanted the equation, so let me show you how to do that. And it's really, you sort of just have to remember and know how to do things. So the first thing I'll do is the reflection. Y equals x squared. Y equals minus x squared is what this second drawing is here. It's just everywhere you see a positive, you now see a negative. So it's just by putting the minus. A better way of thinking of this might be the y just became minus. So so this became minus y equals x squared. But we don't write it like this. We write it like this up here. So the minus moves across. So that's the reflection. We're done on that part. We'll take this one here. And now we just do the rotation, the translation. That's a bit harder. Let me write this again. Equals minus y squared. So to translate the x, we want the x to move 3 to the right. How we do that, we think about what happens at this point at 0. We get 0 squared. So moved, and it looks like that shape, the middle of that shape at the 0 point. Over here, it still has the same shape, so moving x to the right looks like this. And this is just something we sort of remember. We just take 3 away from the x, and that's inside the squared. And think about why that works. We're at plus 3 over here. Put in a 3 here. 3 minus 3 is 0. So that's sort of the thinking of that. If this number was an 8, we'd go minus 8. If this was a minus 7, this would be a plus 7. That's how we translate in the x-axis. So sorry, y equals, I'm missing. So let me write some of these in. This is a reflection. This was I'll just write tran and 3 and 0. I've only moved the 3 part. And the final one then, y is equal minus 3x minus 3 squared. To move something, right in here, tran 0 minus 1. To move something to minus 1, to move the y-axis, it doesn't affect the x at all, it only affects the y. And we're just going down minus 1. It's just minus 1 at the end of all of it. You can think of this like the y-intercept. So we learn about y-intercept. This would be y equals 0, because there's no 0, there's nothing there. This one here, well, we can multiply this out and see what that is. I guess it's 3 squared is 9, minus 9, minus another 1, that'd be minus 10 down there. The y-intercept moves when you move the whole thing. If you move everything down 1, the y-intercept would move down 1. Hopefully that makes sense a bit there. So what to take away from that? Reflection. Reflection is a little weird. You have to remember the whole thing is a minus if you were reflecting through the x-axis. Translation. Different for the x and the y. Translate the x. You need the number to go with the x, and it's minus what is there. Translating in the y part, it's just the number there at the end. But again, you can't really learn these cheats. You do have to learn that whole chapter. Okay, that's it for part A. Let me move on to part B. In part B, they simply ask us to do the same thing, except we're going to do the translation first and the reflection second. Let me do it just with the numbers this time, but I will draw the picture at the end. So just with the numbers, I start off with y equals x squared. I'm going to do the translation. The translation is y is equal to x minus 3 squared, and then the y part of it minus 1. And then the reflection becomes y is equal to minus all of that. Minus x minus 3 squared minus the minus 1, we get a plus 1. And that's it, we're done. And that's why I said this is so short. I could have done the same in the first part. I could have just put in the minus 3 for the x and the minus 1, and I would have been done. There, second part, I am done. Let me draw that though to see why this comes out different than this. So again, we start off with this guy. First thing they did here was translate it. We moved it to the right and down 1. Let's move about, I don't know, somewhere here. To the right 3, down 1, and we get that shape there. And then we reflect it in the x-axis. So this goes through the x-axis and arrives up here. This doesn't move, this doesn't move. We get that shape. Something like that. Like my drawing is not the best, but we get roughly that shape. Here we ended. You know what? I've made a mistake on my first part all along here, haven't I? It was meant to be 3 minus 1. So if you have been shouting at your screen saying you're wrong over there, I am indeed wrong. And if you write a comment, hopefully you watched through the video and seen me correct it, but apologies for that. So you can see how it's different here. This guy's moves over here with doing it in this order. Doing it this way, it moves down there. Apologies for the mistake. Oops, I was about to end the video too soon there. I forgot to do part C. To recap a little, we have in the first part, even though I drew it wrong the first time, we have a curve that looks something like that. And in the second time, we found the curve looked something like this. How would that work? Okay. Yeah, let's say it looks something like this. Basically, the center point ended up here at 3, 1, and this center point ended up at 3, -1. And they ask us in the last part to state fully the transformation that maps y equals gx, the first one down here, with y equals hx, the second one up here. So how do you get from here to here? It's simply you move up 2. And you could write that in English. Well, you'd have to write the word up correctly. How have I forgot to spell up? Up 2, and I think you'd get full marks for that. You could be a bit fancier and say translation 2, or the best way though to say it would be 0, 2. That means you're translating 0 x way and you're going up 2. And that's the answer. Just be warned, if you got the first 2 parts wrong, if you got different answers in the first 2 parts, like this is good news and bad news. They will allow you to have the wrong answer for part C if you translate it correctly. So if your first part had 1 here and 1 here, once you got the correct translation, I don't know, like 6 - 4, you would get full marks. The examiner wouldn't be that happy with you because it would mean they have to do work themselves. But anyway, okay, sorry for missing part C there. Thanks for watching, have a good day.